Hello, and welcome back to Lowdown, a show produced by the students at the University of Central Missouri in Warrensburg. I'm Anaya Smith, and thank you for joining us as we continue to dive into all the cool things happening here at UCM. Speaking of, we'll go to the shop with an automotive student, play a few chords with a visiting quartet, and check out the UCM bowling alley. All this and more coming at you.
Logan Richardson and I actually have known each other for quite a while. I've tracked his career a little bit over the years. I first met him back when he was in high school at the Paseo Academy, and I played with the group at the time. And so we've kept in contact here and there over the years, and I've always tried to find a time to get him back into this part of the country to perform. And the timing finally just happened to work out.
My name is Logan Richardson. The name of my band is Blues People, and I had this idea of wanting to put together an ensemble full of artists that were primarily coming from Kansas City. And so, yeah, I mean, kind of tying back into where the title of the project came from, which was from a great book written by Amiri Baraka, but at the time known as Leroy Jones, and it was entitled Blues People. And really it's just a great book for African American history and for jazz history, if you want to look at it from the music perspective, but really it's just telling the history of black people in this country.
Playing with these individuals is definitely a learning experience. I feel like they are the most expressive group of individuals that I've played with in quite some time. I feel like the music breathes, is totally natural and honest, which is a quality that's lost in popular music today.
Well, ever since 2007, I've been on the road when I was living in New York at the time, and I got an opportunity to be able to go out with a couple of different artists like Nasheep Waits and Jason Moran and like some really top tier jazz musicians in particular, and they took me out of the country and took me on the road for the first time. And I think once I got a first kind of breath and my first taste of Europe and just kind of this way of life, it was like pretty inevitable that I was going to have to go back and spend a more elongated amount of time. Music to me is dealing with something that is entirely it is totality. It's deeper than, it's like everything I hunt for. It's like everything that I know and everything that I don't. It's really truly the definition of being bipolar, because you have total contrast. And without that, nothing in this particular dimension would exist. And so for me, music is like my particular vehicle in this life to be able to scoot through life and collect experiences and resource and whatnot, and to try to find like who I am, and like in addition to that, like why I'm here for other people.
For me, music means an outlet. It's where I can express myself fully. It's where one person writes down in the journal, I play a song. Somebody gives an inspirational speech, that's when I give a solo or something like that. It's pretty connected to me as a person at this point, and not necessarily, it's not detached. It's not a thing that I'm trying to achieve. It's already there.
The easiest way to answer it is that music is constantly showing me daily what it means. I wouldn't be able to give it this summary, like this finite kind of answer, because I'm not sure that it actually exists. And if it did, I'm not sure I would be the one to be able to give it, because I'm still learning it. So it's like it's still teaching me. So it's really everything, you know. Really, I mean, if it wasn't for music, I wouldn't be sitting here right now, for sure. Like, you know. And I certainly wouldn't have moved to Europe, and certainly would have never moved to New York or Boston or any of these other places before, you know. So yeah, it's really everything. Kind of like another parent, you know. Genetically, it's like I'm bound to it. So, you know, like your parents are trying to still understand them. So it's the same type of thing.
My name is Logan Richardson, and we collectively are blues people, and we play music. Yeah?
I am Keenan Douglas, and I am a automotive design major here at UCM. I'm actually a double major. It's like automotive technology management and automotive technology management and design. Oh, it's super intense, like as far as how a majority of the teachers, you'll have a lab directly after the class, and it's not like a day-to-day thing. It's every day you have that class, you go to lab directly after it. A majority of automotive classes are like that. So in almost anything that has to do with you actually altering something on the car or on a vehicle, you're gonna do it. So there's never gonna be a class that you take and it's not gonna be hands-on and you're actually doing the stuff in the shop. We have an entire tool room and workers who work in the tool room who actually, you go in there and ask them what they need and they'll provide it for you. We have 2 full shops, and one of the shops only has 2 lifts in it, but that shop also has the dyno in it and a bunch of stuff for diesels and previews. And then the other shop is the main shop, and that one has 4 or 5 lifts. It actually has like an alignment rack and machine. Pretty much almost anything you can ask for to work on a car, our program's got it. We actually have a little library with our own encyclopedias and books related to manufacturers and car makers, and the program we use to, it's like a database, and we use it through the library. It's called All Data, and you can look up pretty much the make, model, and year and the special version of any car, and you can see all of the diagrams and the electrical circuits for it, or specific steps you need to take to maintenance or fix something. But we use All Data like pretty much almost every class. If it's like a beginner class, they'll teach you how to use All Data in the first week or 2 of the class. The stuff we provide and allow people to use in the shop are, some things are $10,000+ equipment and items. So like without the correct resources or like any other opportunity, there's some stuff in there you would never even be able to see or use, just because an average person wouldn't be able to afford it or a normal shop wouldn't have it. I felt a little out of place when I first came here, but it's not because people made me feel that way. It's just because my interest in cars is not the norm for around here. Like, we live in Missouri, and a majority of people around here like American-made cars and domestic products here. But I'm someone who likes imports, so that's a more rare breed in the automotive department. Most people like love and care about like Chevy and Ford and Dodge and all the American car companies, but it's everyday stuff to me, and it's just a matter of finding someone who likes the same type of cars that I like. But they're still all accepting of me, and I've still made friends with people who have nothing in common with me. I would definitely say if it wasn't one of your first choices and automotive isn't something that you thought you wanted to go into, definitely go check out the building and talk to some of the professors, because they'll easily change your mind. I would say we have about 4 main professors for the automotive classes. One of them recently retired, and but they're all super fun teachers. They're all really hands-on, and they're all really they really try to make a connection with the people they talk to. They're really individualized, and they're really educated in what they need to know. Like, and they'll never blow off you if you ever have a question about something, or if it applies to whatever you're talking about in class, it's never a bad question. They'll always be informed, and they'll always tell you what you need to know whenever you're asking about it. I like that they made the major around what I wanted. So I wanted to end up being a designer for something, and even though that's not a super common major, they still made it so it's a hybrid between the two. So I have some design classes that are like CAD classes, and you use Inventor and programs like that, and then I have automotive classes where you don't do anything besides talk to people about cars and work on cars. So I just like the diversity in my schedule I'll be able to have because of they allowed me to select the major. I would definitely say if you're interested in cars, or if you ever felt like you could work on cars for like the rest of your life, and like you want to do something that you want to dedicate your time to, then the automotive division here is amazing. There's only like, I think, 2 automotive programs this big in Missouri.
Reporting for Lowdown, I am Blake Proctor.
Today I am interviewing Mr. Jim Howard about the bowling alley to talk more about it.
My name is Jim Howard, bowling center manager here, but we also deal with other things. We have some rental toys that not a lot of people are aware of, bounce house kind of items like we had for the President's pregame tailgate this past weekend, casino tables, a cash cube, bingo, so you'll see some of our items being set elsewhere on campus. The most challenging things that we have to deal with are competing demands. Sometimes you can walk by and it'll be very quiet here, and that seems nice, peaceful. But then there are other times when you have a lot of competing demands. A number of people at the register, you might have issues with the scoring system not registering properly, something breaking down at the back, so you have to be ready to juggle competing demands. Now, I don't know how many customers we have per day. Some days it can be not very many. Other days, like Wednesdays, we have specials, and on those days it can be very busy. The weather absolutely affects how many customers we have. When it's either very nice, or when it's either very hot or very cold outside, it seems to drive more people in. Like in the winter, people can't do as many of the outdoor sports as they would like, going to the lake, etc. So they'll come in and bowl when it's bad that way. But also when it's really hot outside, nobody wants to go out there either, so they'll come in and enjoy some air conditioning and bowl more then. We usually have a special about every holiday. I don't know what we're going to be doing for Halloween yet, but we've recently done something for Union Birthday. Soon we're going to be having homecoming, and we'll have like a homecoming leadership bowling event. We'll be setting up for refreshments and stuff for alumni to come in and enjoy on the weekend that we do homecoming. My favorite part about bowling, I think mostly is just meeting people and also working with the students here. We have students from not just America, but we've had student workers from all over, and it gives us a chance to learn something from one another.
Reporting for Lowdown, this is Hunter Hallbaker. Have you been wanting to get into the spirit of Halloween? Well, welcome to Fall Fest.
I'm Michaela Tarwater. I'm president of UCC Hall Exec Board, and I was on the Games Committee, so I helped come up with some of the games and activities that are being put on at Fall Fest. Council is, there's an exec board full of president, vice president, secretary, treasurer, and public relations, and basically we try and put on events around the building. Sometimes it's we partner with other buildings, like for Fall Fest. Sometimes we have other events, like last month we had Let Go and Relax, which is basically just a giant come and paint and talk type thing, and then we're putting on a movie showing next Monday. So we basically plan activities and we buy things for the building that we might need, like Swiffer pads. We meet every week. Sometimes it's an exec board meeting, sometimes it's a general body meeting, and we just try and get stuff done. Yeah, it's nice because since we partnered with 3 other buildings for this event, I've met people in housing from other buildings, which is always great if I want to make connections. So maybe later if I want to go to the housing route, I will know people. Fall Fest is basically a giant fall festival with food, games, activities, prizes. This year it's for all of East Campus, so Foster Knox, UCC, Ellis, but in the past it's been just Ellis, but this year we decided to expand it. So it's just basically a good time to celebrate fall.
I'm Sierra Dawson. I'm an interior design major and I'm living in UCC on the 5th floor because it's where the art students are. My favorite thing about Fall Fest would probably have to be the games and the interaction between the people. It's like really chill and really calm. It's pretty lit.
I know that Fall Fest is supposed to be this big group gathering for our hall and our building and stuff, where we just get around, play games, enter raffles and stuff like that.
The games are Mud Full of Dirt, which is where you have to take a spoon and pick the spiders or the candy out of it. It's kind of like a trick or treat kind of thing. You also, there's spiders at these red dots to win tickets. And then there's, you can paint pumpkins. There's a whole bunch of like just tossing things and having fun.
Right now I'm working at the tarantula toss. I'm volunteering right now just for fun. And it's basically just people tossing tarantulas at these red dots to get tickets for a raffle that we're giving out at the end of the night, I believe.
My favorite game is, honestly, I really like all of them. I'm gonna have to say tarantula toss just because that's the one that I did. It's basically you throw little plastic spiders at a wall of webbing and whoever gets it closest to the target wins.
But my favorite game so far is that one tarantula game.
The raffle prize that I'm trying to go for would be the blanket, the hot cocoa, and the mug. I really need a blanket because our dorms are freezing cold.
I'm hoping to win the hot chocolate with coffee, hot chocolate with a coffee mug because homegirl really likes some hot chocolate.
I mean, I never win a raffle, but hopefully I will this time.
I've met a few, I don't remember their names, but it's a nice way to mingle and get to know people in your community.
This may help me meet new people or bring other people together. I mean, just me, myself, am a great conversation starter.
My favorite thing about Halloween would have to be all the kids going around and, trick-or-treating, having fun. Most of them actually have their own holiday to actually get to know their community. They get to walk around and they get treats from it, so obviously they enjoy it.
No, this is not a costume party because we were worried that people wouldn't show up because they're like, oh, we don't have a costume. So go 110%. If you're gonna wear a costume, show up all the way.
Get to know the people in your surrounding buildings while getting into the spirit of Halloween. Reporting for Lowdown, this is Hunter Hallbaker.
On October 19th, Spotlight brought Fear Factor to UCM. We caught up with event coordinator Paris Moore to get the lowdown on Fear Factor.
My name is Paris Moore. My major is business management. My role in this event today and always for Spotlight is I'm a MAD coordinator, and MAD stands for Mules After Dark. So I'm a Mules After Dark coordinator for Spotlight. So what Spotlight does for campus is we throw events for the campus. We're broken up into several committees, so like each person has a specific target that they hit on. So again, I'm a MAD coordinator, so I hit on all the events thrown on Thursday and Fridays after 8 o'clock. The event today was Fear Factor, and Fear Factor was thrown today at 8 o'clock in the Union. It was mainly just something to throw for Halloween, but normally all of our Halloween events are centered around Halloween. So it's like wear costumes and pumpkins and like weird things like that. And I didn't want it to be anything traditional. I kind of wanted to go on a whole different spectrum, bring something new to campus. So that's why I brought in Fear Factor. So some of the things people would have went through today is like eating bugs or like moving worms with their mouths or like smashing eggs on their face or digging through a bucket of nasty stuff. Like everything was like Fear Factory. That makes sense. So the process going into organizing this event was rather long. So normally I give myself about 3 weeks to plan an event, but this one I kind of had to plan about a month in advance just because it's a lot that goes into it. As you can see, I had like 8 different stations. Each of those stations had to have like rules. I had to make sure I had the materials for those. I still wanted to provide an environment for people who didn't want to participate, so that's why I had like a food bar, but even that food bar needed to be tied in to the event as a whole, so that's why like the food looked the way they did. The punch had the stuff that it did. So it was pretty hectic. I'm not gonna lie, I was pretty stressed out these couple of weeks. What I hope to gain today from this event was something new that we can bring to campus. So this event was actually like approved last semester. And what made me like propose it was going through our records. Again, we had a lot of events that had like the same theme as far as like just making everything like really Halloween like, and you know, like basically trick or treat just like on a college level. And I didn't want that. So I'm hoping to like gain a new experience, something new that we can bring to campus, that we can make a tradition every Halloween that we have Fear Factor, and it's just gonna get bigger and better every year. So that was my hope. I think today went really well. Everybody enjoyed themselves. Everybody participated, which was the goal. So I'm satisfied. I had a blast actually. So today, the different stations we had was one, the bug station. So it had bugs, and we actually had sardines. That was like a last minute add-in. So if you ate bugs, you got tickets. If you ate sardines, you got tickets. Next to that, we had the egg roulette. So all the eggs were labeled 1, 2, 1, 2, 1, 2, and you had a wheel and you spun it. Whatever number it landed on, that's what egg you picked up. But the egg was either boiled or it was a regular egg, and you had to like smash it on your face. So you either gonna come out clean or you're gonna come out messy. Choice was yours. We also had a diaper station. Now, insider, the diapers were filled with chocolate. It was not poop, but I'm telling you, it looked very well, like especially like when I did the Snicker bar, it had like peanuts and stuff in it. It was pretty gross. So that was the diaper station. Next to that, we had the dog food station, which you had like little toy animals. I think it was like spiders, it might have been like some worms and stuff. And you had to get all of those animals, like the play animals, out of the dog food, only using your mouth though. So that was pretty interesting. Next to that, we had the worm transfer. So some people were doing it a little bit differently, and that's why I'm really happy about this event. So what I had planned was people put a fork in their mouth and they moved like the worm from plate to plate using that. But some people were really bold and they were just using their mouths, and that was cool with me. So that was that. And then the last station I had were the mystery boxes. So the boxes were completely blacked out, and we used like everyday household foods as body parts. So I had some potato chips in there, but they were scabs. I had peeled grapes, but those were eyeballs. I had spaghetti for guts. Well, it wasn't really spaghetti, it was just like the noodles, the spaghetti noodles for guts. And I think I had, rice, overcooked rice for maggots. So yeah, that was that. So we did have people eat the worm. So like I said, this was my first time throwing this event. This was the first time Fear Factor has ever been brought to UCM by Spotlight. So with like liability issues and stuff, I wasn't really sure like what I could do, but I also wasn't sure what the students were willing to do. So I didn't want to have a bunch of things here and nobody was down to do it. I wanted everybody to participate, but now I know y'all down for whatever, so it's only gonna get better. It's only gonna get better from here.
Reporting here from Lowdown, I am Brendan Wade.
Unfortunately, that's all the time we have tonight. But never fear, the show in its entirety and individual segments can be found on our KMOS TV YouTube channel. Thank you for joining us this evening. I'm Anaya Smith. Good night. The cool things happening here at UCM. Speaking of, we'll go to the shop and fortunately, that's all the time we have tonight. But thank you for joining us. I thought I could remember.